Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Virginia Killmore, and welcome to my studio. Today is January 6th, the second day of celebration, and I'll be telling you how for every $50 you spend, you can get free stamps. The card that I'm doing today reminds me of dandelions and butterflies in the summer. So I thought we could use that on a cold winter day like today. So let's get started. So, isn't this a pretty card? Reminds you sort of a summer afternoon, warm and hot. I used pads for this, and if you are a person that likes nice straight lines, you're not going to necessarily love this card. So just be patient with me, but I'm going to show you a technique of direct to paper to go ahead and stamp this wonderful card. I'm using some new stamp sets from our new catalog, the Occasions mini catalog, and it will be good from now through June. Now, for every $50 you spend starting today, well, actually starting yesterday, you get something free out of this catalog, and this is only good for January and February, so it's a great opportunity to get some free items, and I'm using two free items that I got. Well, actually, this one I got because I'm a demonstrator, but the one from this set I got for free because I spent $100, and that was a great deal. It's called A Touch of Ink, and I'm going to use just this butterfly for it. But I love the fact that I could color it in. It's actually sketched in, and notice how when it's sketched in, it isn't necessarily all colored in, because artists sort of like to sketch and do things quickly, and that means sometimes you leave a little space, and that white space is kind of interesting to us artistically, especially if you're watercoloring it. It's a part or a component of doing that. So to start with, we are going to use a white piece of cardstock. And I'm going to get some scrap paper out because this can get messy. We're going to be applying the Bumblebee and the Magenta Madness, which I haven't used a lot, but I thought, I'm going to try it. I saw this somewhere, and I thought it was so neat. They did it with acrylic paint, which is fun, but we don't have acrylic paint, and I didn't want to get out my painting supplies. So what I'm going to be doing is just dragging my pad across here and carefully trying to get a rectangle. If I go off or I'm not quite perfect, that's okay. That's what makes this kind of interesting. And I'm going to do it a couple times because my pad's a little dry till I get an area filled that I think works well. Now, obviously with the pink, I'm going to get a lot more with the magenta. So that is why I go from the light to the dark, and it's going to actually mix right in with my yellow, which is kind of what makes it interesting to me. I like the fact that it doesn't quite fill in perfectly. I think it needs to go down a little bit more. Oh, that's perfect. Wow, that's better than I expected. See how that has sort of a painterly feel to it? The only thing is I want a little bit right here, and I want a little bit over, but that's okay. This is artist marks, and artist marks is what makes it interesting. So now I'm ready to do some stamping. I've got my background all done, and all I did was rub stamp pads on it. I didn't ink it or anything, and now I'm going to use Memento, and I think what I'm going to do is put my butterfly first, which is opposite of what I did earlier. But I want to make sure he's set right in there. And because this is a new stamp, I want to make sure I've got it properly inked. Photopolymer sometimes notoriously can be difficult the first time you stamp. This is a trick I use all the time when I have a stamp that's not stamping well. I call it roughing it up, and that might take any residue that might be on there. The red rubber doesn't seem to have that same problem. But the red rubber takes a little bit longer to get it all dark. Look at how much I'm struggling to get ink all over it because it's the first time out. And there's something to be said for what they call priming a stamp. That means inking it and then inking it again. If you've ever stamped in my studio, you probably have been in a long line of people stamping. The first person that stamps doesn't always get the best color because it's the first time out. Looks like it's stamping pretty well, so I'm going to go ahead and go in with it, but I just got to make sure it's nicely inked again. Okay, so now I can sort of see where my butterfly is and set it up. Now, the second one that I'm going to stamp is going to be below the line. So I can either choose to put less ink on here and maybe try to only ink this far because I wasn't real happy with the way that came out. I didn't like this. So let's see if I can resolve that by stamping. And because it's dry, I can get away with it. Still stamped there, but it isn't as bad, and it actually looks like it's further back. So I kind of like that. I'm going to put one more in there. I never can follow something again and again. I have a problem with that. I just like to change things up. I like to try things. And that's part of what makes this fun for me and why I enjoy stamping so much is I'm always playing with this. Now, I saw this trick online and I thought, this is an interesting way to do the same process that I normally just tie right up, but to use the block to hold it in place. So I'm taking, I think this is a C block, but I'm not 100% sure. I should check that. And I'm not tying it down to the base, but I'm using that to sort of hold and anchor my ribbon so I can work it coming out. Oops, I think I made this a little tight. Should have cut a little bit longer piece of ribbon. I think some people say that they cut about 10 inches. There we go. Okay. And I always pull from the bottom up because I want that knot to be tight from both directions. So I will knot it from this direction and then pull from this direction as well. Okay? Because then I have a nice clean knot that doesn't move. And I think I need to trim this up because I really ravaged this poor ribbon. And because I'm going to probably be in the middle, I'm going to put that right there. And I am going to attach it to my yellow first and then attach it to my card front. It's a simple, quick card. You can put your sentiment on the inside. If you're happy with just the ribbon, then you're all done. I added a little bling because I always love bling. And I'm going to flip that over, put a little tape on both sides. Ooh, there's a little kiss from Monday's card that I could use on the inside of the card if I wanted. See how straight I got that? Oh, I did pretty well. So now I can go ahead and attach it to my magenta. That color is so intense, but it's so beautiful with the yellow. It just cuts it, you know, makes it really nice. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue that on here. And there you have it. My card is done with the exception of the Rhinestones. Now, this is from the regular catalog, even though they're called Holiday Rhinestones. I'm just going to put one. I'm going to put a big one up here. I think there's 3 sizes of rhinestones. There. Just sort of add a little extra touch, and if I wanted to, I could glue that right in there and have a nice little accent for my card. So there you have it, today's card. I'm so glad you watched. And you took the time out to allow yourself some creativity every day. I think it's really important. For me, it's what keeps me sane. So I hope to see you tomorrow, and have a great day. And thanks for watching.